Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. Hardcore Course in Miracles. And we're going to talk about, from A Course in Miracles, what you do whenever you feel like the love and the happiness in any relationship that you're in is threatened by anything. So what do you do whenever you feel like the happiness in your relationship with somebody is threatened by anything? What do you do? What do you do? I'm going to talk about that. And here on Course in Miracles, here on Facebook Live, I want to welcome you, mighty companion. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm so glad to be with you. Let's do our theme song, We Are One, which allows all of us to come in. And if you're already here, just let yourselves chill out, go within, and let's listen to Brother John Christmas. We gotta breathe. Here we go.
There's a call for God, I see it everywhere. Everybody's running scared, and everything is turning upside down. But the words I hear, they keep coming through from deep inside of me and you. It's telling us that love is who I am.
Love is who I am.
You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Now let's come together and understand that love was born inside of everyone. He's waiting for us to choose love as ourselves. When you choose love, you know you choose me too. And everyone becomes a part of you. And then you will know that love is who I am. You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one.
Welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles. This is Earl Purdy. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm glad that you want to go deep into A Course in Miracles with me. And we're going to talk about what you should do whenever you feel like the love and the happiness and the peace in any one of your relationships is threatened. So whenever you have your love and happiness and peace, when it's feeling threatened, when you feel the happiness and the connection in your relationship threatened, what do you do? We're going to talk about that from A Course in Miracles in this Hardcore Course in Miracles presentation. Oh yeah.
You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it. Know that we are one. Oh, we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one. I am you, and you are me.
I am you and you are me. I am you. I love that last line. I am you and you are me. I am you and you are me. You know, this oneness stuff says that over and over again. It says, I am you and you are me. I'm you and you are me. We're going to go really deep. I see myself as a teacher. I see myself as a messenger. I see myself after 40 plus years of teaching and learning A Course in Miracles. I call myself the divine repetition teacher. I call myself the divine remembering coach. I'm a remembering coach. Do you know that the one thing that I have learned after studying A Course in Miracles for so long is that it's really not important to analyze and understand A Course in Miracles. If you really want to get the love and the blessings and the peace that the Course in Miracles offers, what you must do is remember what it's saying, specifically remember what it's saying, and then apply what the Course in Miracles is saying to the situation or thought or relationship that you're in. It's about the practical application of the ideas. Do you know it's about applying it, remembering it and applying it, remembering the Course in Miracles and applying it. This is hardcore Course in Miracles. This is a presentation that's especially geared toward people who see themselves as students of A Course in Miracles, even though everyone is welcome to watch or listen. I'm Earl Purdy. And do you know that I have been obsessed in teaching and lecturing and traveling around the world, teaching A Course in Miracles for over 40 years? Because The Course in Miracles is the most profound teaching and awakening guide that I've ever experienced. And so what we want to do is we want to start out on the right foot. Now, that was Brother John Christmas at www.johnchristmas.com if you want to download and get the music, the vocal music from A Course in Miracles. So remember, it's not about how much we cover. It's about remembering what A Course in Miracles is telling us and then applying it to our thinking. The Course in Miracles teaches you how to change your perception. The Course in Miracles is much more concerned with how you see things. It's not so concerned with what's happening on the outer, because everything that's happening on the outer is neutral. By neutral, I mean it doesn't have any meaning until you give it whatever meaning that it has. So really, it's about how are you going to learn to look at things? Because the way that you're looking at things, don't you know the way that you're looking at things, that's what determines how you feel. And how you feel, whether you feel happy or sad, loved or unloved, innocent or guilty, that's really what's important, is how do you feel? And how you feel comes from what you think and what you believe. So I want you to remember this. This is straight from A Course in Miracles. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Do you know that some of the ideas you may actively resist? Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles hard to believe. Some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles may startle you. Some of the things that I say from A Course in Miracles may startle you. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Do you know that you are not being asked to analyze and judge the ideas at all? So how do you know if the ideas in A Course in Miracles work? How do you know if the ideas in A Course in Miracles are true? Their use. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you. Using the ideas from A Course in Miracles will give the ideas meaning to you. And using the ideas from A Course in Miracles will show you that the ideas are true. Using it, using it, using it, using it. Doing the workbook lessons, the Course in Miracles is 3 books in one, a text, a workbook, and a manual for teachers. It's doing the workbook lessons that will allow you to be able to apply the Course in Miracles in a successful way to your everyday existence. I'm all about the practical application of the ideas. I'm not really interested in all of the theories and the theoretical frameworks. It's great to know the theory, but how do I have peace and love and joy in my life? And how can I allow that to be true for those I love in the world? So it's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. I would invite you, when you check out my classes, if at all possible, to have the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles handy, because that's the version of the Course in Miracles that I work out of. Because I also, as a teacher, I want to show you some tips about the best way to actually hear what the Course in Miracles is saying. Because the thing I've noticed in working with hundreds and hundreds of Course in Miracles students is that they don't usually remember specifically what the Course in Miracles is saying. They tend to give their own interpretations and definitions of what the Course in Miracles is saying, instead of focusing on the meanings that the Course in Miracles is giving about what it's saying. And what are the two things that the Course in Miracles, what are the two things that the Course in Miracles is always talking about? It's always talking about love or fear. It's about removing the blocks to love. So we're going to be in chapter 18. We're going to be in section 5, and we're going to start out with paragraph 6. Chapter 18, section 5, paragraph 6. We're going to be on page 380. We're going to be on page 384. Page 384. We're going to be on page 384 in the text, page 384. And we're going to be on paragraph 6, chapter 18, which is the passing of the dream. And we're going to be on paragraph 6. And we're going to be in section 5. Okay. It's so good to be with you. This is a sacred time for me, but it's also a time that I love for us to enjoy. And just know that we can have the joy of knowing that we're not the only one that loves this material, and that you're not the only one that's trying to do this, and you are having the opportunity through having Facebook Live, even though you can watch the replay. And please share. Please, there's one thing I'd like to ask you to do for me. Please share this video. Please share this video. Okay. And I'm going to take it slow. All right? And I do it in a question and answer format, because I found that questions hook the mind. It helps keep you conscious. And I'm going to give you some of the Course in Miracles definitions of the terms. Like in paragraph 6, it says, when you feel the holiness of your relationship. Now, holiness is nothing but love and peace and happiness. So what do you do when you feel the holiness of your relationship is threatened by anything? Whenever your relationship is threatened by anything, whenever the happiness and the joy and the peace in your relationship is threatened, whenever you feel the happiness and the peace and the joy of any relationship, and you feel that happiness threatened, and when you feel that that happiness and love is threatened by anything, what do you do when you feel the happiness and the love and the peace of your relationship is threatened by anything? The first thing you do is you stop instantly. Okay, I'm beginning to get upset. I'm beginning to become afraid. It looks like the happiness of my relationship and the peace that we're having with each other is about to be threatened, or is threatened. What's the first thing you should do? Well, the first thing you should do is stop instantly. Stop instantly. And what should you do? Offer the Holy Spirit. Offer higher power. Ask the Holy Spirit. Offer the Holy Spirit what? Your willingness, in spite of fear. In spite of your fear, in spite of your upset, what do? You offer love. You offer the Holy Spirit. I'm giving you all these definitions. You offer the higher power. What? You offer the higher power your willingness, in spite of your fear. Okay, you're feeling like the happiness and the holiness of your relationship is threatened. What do? You stop instantly and you offer God. You offer Spirit. What do you offer Spirit? You offer Spirit your willingness. You offer Spirit your willingness. In spite of your fear, in spite of your upset, you offer God your willingness. Your willingness to do what? Your willingness, I'm feeling threatened. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to instantly stop, and I'm going to offer the higher power. I'm going to offer my greater self. I'm going to offer Holy Spirit my willingness to let the Holy Spirit, to let God exchange this instant that I'm feeling threatened for the holy, happy one that I'd rather have. So what do? Whenever you feel like the happiness and the peace of your relationship is threatened by anything, you stop instantly and offer the higher power your willingness to have this threat exchanged for love, to have this fear and upset exchanged for love. I'm willing to let God exchange this feeling of threat, this separation that seems to be happening. I'm willing to exchange this instant for the holy, happy, healing instant that I'd rather have. Go, I feel upset. I'm feeling threatened. This relationship is feeling threatened. And I am going to instantly stop and offer love, my willingness to have love exchange this fear for the loving instant that I would really want to have. Now, what is it that the Holy Spirit will never fail in? What is it that God will never fail in? Well, God will never fail in giving you the peace and the happiness that you really want in exchange for the upset, maybe disagreement, anger, separation that you're feeling. God will not fail to exchange the unhappy instant for a happy instant. But this is your part. If you want to have that exchange from conflict to peace in a relationship, there is something you must not forget. Now, those of you who are following me in the book, do you see that in the next sentence it says, but forget not. Now, don't you see where I'm always saying I'm the divine remembering coach? It didn't say analyze. It didn't say judge. It said, don't forget, don't forget. What is it that you must not forget if you want God to exchange the conflict that you're experiencing in a relationship for the peace that you'd rather have in that relationship? You must remember that the relationship is one. You're in one relationship. Whoever you're in a relationship with, you're in one relationship with that person. And so what it means when you're in a relationship that is one, What does that mean? Well, it means that whatever threatens the peace of one of you is an equal threat to the peace of the other. Whatever threatens my peace threatens your peace. If we're in a relationship, whatever threatens my peace threatens your peace. If we're in a relationship, what threatens the peace of one of us is an equal threat to the other. So, what is the benefit of joining with another person in a relationship? Well, the power of joining. There's a power of joining. There's a power of joining. So what is the power of the blessing of joining in a relationship? Well, if you are in a relationship, it's now impossible for you and the other person to experience fear alone. If you're in a relationship, it should mean that you're not going to have to go through anything alone. If you join with someone in a relationship, what is the blessing? The blessing of having a relationship is that it makes you feel that you are not going to have to go through anything all alone, all by yourself. And when you're in a relationship, a real relationship, do you know that the power of joining in a blessing is you also recognizing that you will not even have to attempt to deal with fear alone. You don't have to experience fear alone, and you don't have to deal with it alone. That's the advantage of being in a relationship, is that you don't have to deal with anything else alone ever again. You won't have to deal with anything alone. And to be in a relationship doesn't necessarily mean that you're with another body. A Course in Miracles is very clear about that you are not alone just because you're not with another body. That you're not with another body doesn't mean that you are alone. But the power of a relationship and the blessing in a relationship lies in the fact that you don't have to go through anything else alone, and you don't have to experience any kind of fear alone. Now, what is it that you should never believe? We always hearing about what we should believe, but what is it that we should never believe? What is it that you should never believe? Don't believe it's necessary to experience fear alone. Don't believe that it's necessary to attempt to deal with fear alone. You don't have to deal with fear alone. Don't ever believe you have to deal with anything alone. You don't have to go through anything alone, and never believe that you are going through anything alone, or that you ever will have to go through anything alone. And just as it's impossible for you to experience fear alone or deal with fear alone, what is it said next? It's equally impossible that the holy instant, which is the happy instant, which is the healing instant, which is the loving instant, it's equally impossible that you have love or happiness come to one of you without it coming to the other. If you're in a real relationship, if you're happy, it brings happiness to the other person in the relationship. And if they are happy, it brings happiness to you. If you're in a real relationship, if you're really in a holy relationship, that's what real and holiness in the Course in Miracles, real and holy, they're the same thing. The Course in Miracles also defines holiness as sanity. So the Course in Miracles says that a holy relationship is a sane relationship. It's a relationship that's based on love and joy and peace. That's a holy relationship. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, the power of it, the blessing of it, is that it's impossible for you to experience fear and upset by yourself, and it's impossible for you to have to deal with fear alone. Don't ever believe it's necessary to go through anything alone. Don't even believe it's possible for you to go through anything alone. It's impossible. It's impossible. But it's equally impossible that the good stuff come to one of you without coming to the other one. If you're in a relationship, if you're in a real relationship, it's equally impossible that the holy instant come to either one of you, that happiness come to either one of you without the other. Do you know that if you're in a relationship, then if you request the holy instant, if you request sanity, If you ask for love, if you ask for sanity, if you ask for the holy instant, it will come to both of you at the request of either one of you. Isn't that one? That's a trip when you think about it. If I'm in a real relationship, then if I request a healing, forgiveness, happiness, a solution, a resolution, then that resolution will come to both of us. If we're in a real relationship, it's going to come to both of us if either one of us requests it. I want you to think about that for a minute. So my goal as a teacher is to support you in remembering. So what did we just hear in that paragraph? What did we just hear? That's what I mean by saying, A Course in Miracles students, you must start remembering specifically what the Course in Miracles itself is saying and not trying to give it your interpretation and meaning and figure it out. So if you were to do one paragraph thoroughly, that one paragraph would take you into all peace. Okay, so let's go back. Let's make it real. Okay, whenever I'm feeling like the happiness and the peace of a relationship that I'm in is threatened by anything. Let's say right now I feel like the peace that I'm having in this relationship with this other person is being threatened right now. So what should I do? I'm beginning to get upset. What should I do? Stop. What? You should stop. Stop when? Instantly. What? Instantly stop. The minute you start to feel your ego coming up, the minute you feel the anger and the fear and the upset coming up, instantly stop and offer God your willingness to have this instant of fear and upset exchange for happiness and joy and love. Soon as you are beginning to feel threatened, you instantly stop and offer the Holy Spirit, offer love, your willingness to let the Holy Spirit absolutely exchange this fear that's coming up for love. I'm willing to exchange this conflict for peace. The Holy Spirit will never fail in exchanging the fear for love. But there's a couple of things you need to remember if you want to see that happen. What is it that you should remember? You should remember that you're in a relationship. That means you are one with each other. So if you are one with each other, whatever threatens one of you threatens the other one. So if my peace is threatened, it also threatens the peace of my friend, partner, or the other person. The next thing I need to remember is that if I'm in a relationship with the person, that there's a blessing that's in that. And what is the blessing? What is the blessing in being in a relationship? The blessing in being in a relationship is that you won't have to go through fear alone, that you won't have to go through upset alone, that you won't have to deal with problems and upset and fears alone. Don't even attempt to deal with problems and fears and upsets alone. Don't even attempt to do that. Don't even believe that it's possible for you to go through anything alone without God, it's just not possible for you to go through anything alone, no matter how it looks to you. Don't even believe it's necessary. Don't even believe it's possible. Now, what is the Course in Miracles doing? The Course in Miracles is telling us our part. If you are serious about saying you're offering this relationship to the Holy Spirit, you're offering this relationship to higher power, and you're willing to have the Holy Spirit exchange this fear that you're going through or upset that you're going through, you're willing to have that fear and upset exchange for love, peace, then you need to remember that whatever threatens the peace of one of you and the happiness of one of you, it's going to be a threat to the happiness in the other person. Also, remember what? Remember that the fact that you are joined, that means that it's impossible for you or the other person to experience fear alone or to attempt to deal with it alone. But it's equally impossible that the happiness and the peace and the joy come to one of you without coming to the other one. If you're in a relationship, if you request happiness, if you request a healing for both of you, you have the power to request a healing for both of you. You have the power to request a healing for both of you. Think about any relationship that you're in right now that there may be some separation, that there may be some upset, anger, grievances. And then tell yourself, okay, I'm going to stop right now, and I'm going to offer God my willingness to have God exchange this fear that I'm feeling, this conflict that we're going through, for peace and happiness. What is my part? Well, my part is to remember that there's a blessing in this relationship, because the blessing is that neither one of us will have to deal with anything alone. And it's not possible for us to deal with anything alone. And whatever threatens one of us is going to threaten the other one. And whatever brings happiness to one of us is also going to bring happiness to the other. And that you have the power. You have the power. You have the power to request happiness and peace for you and the other person that you're in a relationship with. So does that mean that you could do what I'm saying right now? That you could do that without actually having to talk to the other person or convince the other person or process with the other person? That's exactly what I'm saying. Because remember, you're asking the Holy Spirit to exchange the conflict for peace. Don't you forget, the Course in Miracles didn't just say you were going to be the one that brought the peace and the happiness and joy. It says that you should be the one that's willing to have the Holy Spirit exchange the conflict for the peace. You want to offer God, the higher power, your willingness. That's your part. Your part is to offer willingness. Your part is to offer willingness. It's the Holy Spirit's part to actually exchange the lack for abundance, to exchange the sickness for health. It's the Holy Spirit's responsibility. It's the Holy Spirit's responsibility to heal you. It's the Holy Spirit's responsibility. It's God's responsibility. It's God's responsibility. It's the universe's responsibility. It's the responsibility of all that is. It's the responsibility of love to exchange the conflict and separation that you might be going through with somebody. It's not you. You're not going to do it. Okay. See, you see what I mean by the repetition, remembering, repetition, remembering, repeat it, remember. Notice that I am not analyzing. I am not giving you Earl Purdy's interpretation. Any of the words that I use that you don't see on the page, I'm using the definitions of those words that the Course in Miracles gives. It's still not me giving you my meaning. Okay, so what's the next step? What is the next thing that I need to do if I really want to exchange separation for oneness? If I want to exchange grievances for miracles and expressions of love? What is the next thing? What is the next thing that you need to remember? Now, whoever is saner at the time the threat is experienced. Like right now, there's you and another person, and you're feeling a threat. You're feeling upset. You're being tempted to be separate or upset with each other in some kind of way. It says, whoever is saner at the time the threat is perceived. Whoever is saner. Whoever is saner. Whoever has the most sense. Whoever is being the most peaceful. At the time the threat is seen, it says right here again, whoever is saner, 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 whoever is saner at the time the threat is perceived, whoever is saner should remember how deep his indebtedness to the other and how much gratitude is due to the other. Stop. Just nibble the course. Nibble the course. Okay, there's a threat happening between me and another person in a relationship, right? I've asked the Holy Spirit to exchange the conflict and the fear that I'm feeling for the love that I want to experience. Then I have to remember that the fact that we are in this relationship means that neither one of us has to deal with any kind of threat or fear alone, and shouldn't even attempt to deal with any kind of fear alone. And we should never believe it's possible. And we shouldn't believe that the Holy Spirit can fail. But it also says you need to also remember what? You need to remember that what brings happiness and love to one of you can also bring happiness and love to the other one, and that you can bring happiness and peace into the relationship. How? By requesting it. And that's what you're doing when you offer your relationship to God. When you offer any relationship to God, and I don't just mean romantic relationships, I mean special relationships. Because you can have special relationships with people other than your partners. So if you're in any kind of special, it can be a child, it can be a boss, it can be it can be anybody. That's pretty much covers it all. It can be anybody that you've singled out and you have any kind of relationship or interaction with. So what do you do when the challenge comes up? He says, well, whoever is saner at the time the threat is perceived, you should do what? You should remember. Remember. See, there it goes again. Remember, not analyze. Remember what? Remember how deep you're indebted to this person. Remember how much gratitude is due to this person. What do you mean? Try to focus in on the fact that, first of all, you can focus in on the things that this person has done for you that you're grateful for. Focus in on the things that you've experienced with this person that you're grateful for. Focus on how deeply indebted you are to this person, because this person is giving you an opportunity to practice the truth. This person is giving you an opportunity to practice the truth that will bring nothing but happiness and peace into your life, because this person is giving you a real-time opportunity to actually use what the Course in Miracles is teaching. This person is giving you an opportunity to take what the Course is teaching and make it real and not just theoretical. So there are two things you need to remember if you're the one that's saner, which means you're the one that's not going off the most. You're the one that's not tripping and acting crazy. You're the one that's being saner. So the saner person, what they should be doing is remembering how deep their indebtedness is to the other person and how much gratitude is due to the other person. Because that's going to help soften you anyway. I'm upset with you about something, but I do remember that you took me out for my birthday. You helped me out when I was sick. We've had loving conversations. We've had blessings that we've given to each other. In other words, you want to remember as fast as you can how deep your indebtedness is to the other person and how much gratitude is due to the other person. That will help kind of cool the ego out right there. And what is the next thing that the Course in Miracles says? And do what? Be glad. What? You mean to tell me that I'm feeling threatened and upset and we're having this challenge with each other, and I should, first of all, be glad? Yeah, you need to be glad that you can pay your debt. You can pay your debt. You can pay your debt. This person is, you got things that you could be and need to be grateful about in this relationship and to this other person, and be glad that you can pay them back. This is your opportunity to pay them back. So how do you pay another person back, really, at a loving spiritual level? You bring happiness. Bring happiness. There's a lot of fear, a lot of upset, maybe some separation going on right now. So you need to remember the loving thoughts. You need to remember the loving thoughts. A Course in Miracles teaches that to forgive is to remember only the loving thoughts. The loving thoughts that you gave and the loving thoughts that they gave you back. You've had, in most cases, even in a situation where two people are feeling threatened and they're upset with each other, if they've been in a relationship that's intense enough for them to get upset with each other, then it's possible also that they actually have had loving experiences with each other in the past. So what you should do is remember and be glad that you can pay your debt by bringing happiness and peace to both of you. So what do you do? What do you do? What is the next sentence? What is the next sentence? The next sentence says what? Let you remember this. See, that's the word remember. Look how many times we've heard remember and don't forget, remember and don't, but we haven't heard analyze, and we haven't heard judge, and we haven't heard figure this out. We haven't heard any of that. We've heard don't forget, remember. Forget, as the Course puts it, forget not. Forget not. Remember. So what is it that you want to remember, and what do you want to say? What do you want to remember, and what do you want to say? This is what you want to remember. This is what you want to say. Remember what I'm about to say from A Course in Miracles. Remember. And I'm just going to say it the way it's written first, and then we're going to come back, okay? And then we're going to say it in a way that is more regular language, okay? Here we go. I desire this holy instant for myself, that I may share it with my brother, whom I love, my brother whom I love, my brother whom I love. It is not possible that I can have it without him and he without me. Yet, it is wholly possible for us to share it now. And so I choose this instant. And so I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit. I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us, that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us, and keep us both in peace, and keep us both in peace, and keep us both in peace, and keep us both in peace. Then you repeat it. I desire this loving instant for myself, that I may share it with my equal. The Course in Miracles says brother is just another term for equal. Brother is not talking about a gender issue. Brother is not talking about a gender issue. A Course in Miracles definition of brother is your equal, your partner, the one you're in relationship with. And this can be any kind of relationship. So it says, so I want you to think about this. It says, you ask the Holy Spirit, you're feeling threatened in your relationship some kind of way. Something's coming up and there's a threat to your relationship, to the peace of your relationship. What should you do? You should instantly stop and offer the Holy Spirit your willingness to have the Holy Spirit exchange this fear and anger for peace and love. And the Holy Spirit will never fail to do this, but there's a few things you got to do. You got to remember that the power of being in a relationship means that you won't ever have to experience fear and love alone. But it also means that whatever threatens you is also what would threaten the other person. And whatever would bring happiness and peace to one of you would bring happiness and peace to both of you. What do you do next? The next thing you do is you focus on that this is an opportunity for you to pay a debt, and be grateful. Be grateful that this person is giving you an opportunity to pay your debt. And be glad that by you choosing to practice this, that you can bring happiness to both of you. And then what do you do? What do you do? So don't say the Course in Miracles is not practical. Don't say the Course in Miracles is not practical. And don't say the Course in Miracles doesn't work. Don't say the Course in Miracles doesn't work if you have not done this. And I want to challenge the Course in Miracles students out there. Be honest with yourself. Now, be honest with yourself. How many times have you done this? Exactly the way this book is saying right now. How many times in any kind of an upset, in any kind of relationship, as a Course in Miracles student, be honest. How many times have you actually said this prayer? How many of you have actually memorized it? How many of you have gone through these steps? Even though you may be calling yourself a very good Course in Miracles student, and I'm not judging you or criticizing you, I'm just saying, if you're not specifically doing what the Holy Spirit tells you to do, what the Course tells you to do, then you really have not given it to the Holy Spirit, because to give it to the higher power means you're going to do what the higher power is telling you to do. That's what giving it up to the higher power means. It means that the higher power is now guiding you, and that you're going to do what the higher power, which is love, you're going to do what it's telling you to do. That's how you surrender. Surrender means I'm going to obey. It means I'm going to let you control my mind. Like you're saying to your higher power, I'm going to let you control my mind and my actions. And the way I'm going to let you control my mind and actions is that I'm going to do what you're telling me to do. I'm going to remember what you're telling me to do, and I'm going to do what you're telling me to do. That's how you obey God. That's how you obey the higher power. You don't go, I give it to the Holy Spirit. Giving it to the Holy Spirit means you're going to do what the Holy Spirit tells you to do. Giving it to the Holy Spirit means you're going to do what the Course in Miracles, if that's your spiritual path, is telling you to do. So what is it telling you to do? It's telling you to remember this and to say this. To say what? I desire this happy instant. I desire this peaceful instant. I desire this loving instant for myself. So why is it that you are desiring happiness for yourself? You're desiring happiness and love for yourself so that you can share it with this person that you say you love. One of the things that's a trip for me to remember about special relationships is that while the special relationship is going good, which usually means you're doing exactly what the other person wants you to do. That's what it means usually when a special relationship is going good. It just means one or both of the people involved are following each other's scripts. And they're following each other's scripts perfectly. So they're saying they're in love and the relationship is going great. But it usually just means you're both doing what the other one wants you to do right now. So the Course in Miracles is saying to us, that is not real love. That is not real love. So what you want to do is you're going to start out by saying, I desire happiness for myself. Why do I want this happiness and love? I want to feel this happiness and love so that I can share it with the person that I love. I want to be happy so I can share my happiness with you. You want to be happy so you can share your happiness with the people that you're in a relationship with. Why do you want to be happy so that you can share it with the other person? Well, it says in the next line, it is not possible that I can have it. It's not possible that I can have happiness and healing and love, abundance and joy. It's not possible that I can have it without that other person. And that other person cannot have it without me. Listen to me. Listen what the Course says. It's not possible that I can have the holy instant. It's not possible that I can have the holy instant. It's not possible that I can have love without you and you have love without me. It's not possible that I can have love without you and you can have love without me. It's not possible that I can have peace without you or you can have peace without me. If we're in a real relationship with each other, it's not possible that I can have it without you or you can have it without me. That's what it means to be in a relationship. What comes to one of you comes to both of you. What threatens the peace of one of you threatens the peace and happiness of the other. But what is totally possible? What is it that we can count on? What is it that's totally possible? It says, yet it is wholly possible for us to share it now. It is wholly possible for us to share happiness now. You can't have love and happiness without me. I can't have love and happiness without you. But what is it possible for us to do? It's possible for us to share peace and love and happiness when? Right now. Right now. It's possible for us to have peace and happiness and joy right now. Okay? It's possible for us to share peace and happiness right now. What's the next step? What does the Course in Miracles say next? It says, and so I choose this instant, this one. I choose this instant as the instant, this instant, to offer to the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, the higher power, my inner teacher, the universe, spirit, God, love, whatever the term is that the Course uses to describe Holy Spirit. So it's possible for us to be happy now. So I'm going to choose this instant right here as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit. Why do I want to give this instant to the Holy Spirit when I'm feeling threatened in a relationship? I want to give this instant to the Holy Spirit so that the Holy Spirit's blessing can descend on us. I want love's blessing to descend on us. Right now we are feeling threatened. I want love's blessing, God's blessing to descend on us. I want peace to descend on us. I want peace to descend on us. I'm going to give this to the Holy Spirit. I'm going to give this to the Holy Spirit so the Holy Spirit's blessing can descend on us. I want the love to descend on us right now. We're feeling threatened right now. There's a separation between us right now. So I choose this instant as the instant to offer to love. That's the Holy Spirit. So that love's blessing may descend on us. So what happens when love's blessing descends on us? What will happen when love's blessing, when God, truth, descends on us? It will keep us both in peace. I'm asking that the Holy Spirit keep us both in peace. When you say you want to have God's blessing descend on you, you should say, I want God's blessing to descend on us, so it can keep us both in peace. God's blessing descend on us to keep us both in peace. Now do this. You are perfectly capable of taking 30 minutes or an hour until you actually remember this and learn this. I'm going to give a quick review and a powerful repetition of this in just a few minutes. I'm Earl Purdy. I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. Would you like to make a financial expression of appreciation? If you would, you can go to my website if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation. My website is www.earlpurdy.com. You spell Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y. You can also use Zelle, Venmo, the Cash App, and PayPal. My email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. I truly, truly, truly appreciate your generosity. If you want to go deeper, I do one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions, where I can bring my over 40 years of teaching, counseling, coaching, and advising into a one-on-one session between you and I. And I've also worked as a mentor. I work as a mentor and a coach. If you want to go deeper, if you really want to remove the blocks and have a one-on-one, I call them clarity sessions. And I'm also, and have been for over 40 years, a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist. And for those who are open-minded or would like also for me to counsel and advise using that medium, then I'm available for that also. The Course in Miracles teaches that no good teacher uses the same approach to every student. So you're not alone. You're not alone. Go to my website. You will find out all the details you need in order to make a decision about whether or not you want to have a clarity session. And you can self-book a clarity session right from my website online. Sign up for my contact list from my website. I'm getting very excited about the next phase of my teaching ministry when I'm going to do more private, smaller sessions on Zoom and people would be able to communicate back and forth. It'll be much deeper. And so you want to make sure that you are on my contact list so that I can let you know about it. So go to my website. If you're really sincere and you really want it, then it should mean enough for you to go to my website and sign up for the contact list. I'm excited about what we can do together. So also remember that on Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do another Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles, on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. And you can also see many of my videos, hundreds actually, on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Okay, so, and on my website, I have free videos and classes you can watch and listen to. And all the workbook lessons on YouTube. I've done all the workbook lessons, and they're on YouTube. Again, just Google my name, Earl Purdy, okay? And whatever lesson you want to hear or see. I love what I do. We're in a relationship with each other. So that means that neither one of us have to deal with fear and conflict alone because we have each other. That's the proof the course is true right there. And that we should remember how indebted we are to each other. And you should be glad because we're joined, and we're joined for the purpose of healing. We should be grateful that we have each other. I'm telling you. But the key is the remembering. The key is the remembering. So let's go back over. Let's go back over real quick. Let's go over the prayer. I want to focus on the prayer. So when you are feeling upset, you want to instantly stop, and you want to tell the Holy Spirit that you want to exchange this instant of fear for an instant of love, that you're ready to go from fear to love. Don't forget that your relationship is one. That means whatever threatens the peace of one of you threatens the peace of the other. But do you know that the fact that you're in a relationship means that neither one of you all will ever have to go through fear or conflict alone again or deal with it by yourself again? But it's also equally impossible that happiness come to one of you and not come to the other. It's going to come to both of you. If either one of you requests peace, peace could actually come to both of you if you offer your relationship to love, to the higher power. And don't forget, that's right. Thank you, Kim. Yes, listen to this or watch this class at least 4 times, repetition, 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 repetition. Remember, remember, remember. Whoever is saner at the time that the threat is perceived, what do? Well, the first thing you want to do when you're beginning to get upset is you want to remember how deep your indebtedness is to the other person. You want to remember how much gratitude that's due to the other person and be glad. What is it you should be glad about? You should be glad about the fact that you can pay your debt. You can pay your debt by being sane, doing what the Course in Miracles is saying to do, so that you can bring happiness to both of you. So let you remember this and say, what is it that you need to remember and say? If you're really sincere, now the Course in Miracles says if your resistance is strong and your dedication is weak. Also Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live, the Earl Purdy page, You want to like that page. You want to subscribe to it so that you can be instantly notified whenever I come live on the line. 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday's Hardcore Course. I meant to say that. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for reminding me. So you need to remember this, and say, I desire this happy instant, loving instant for myself. I desire this happy, holy, healing instant for myself so that I can share it with this person that I love. So I'm doing it in regular language. I desire this instant of happiness. I desire love in an instant of happiness for myself. I desire love for myself, innocence for myself, peace for myself. Why do you want that peace? I want that peace so I can share it with this person. I want peace so I can share it with this person. I want peace so I can share it with this person whom I love. You say you love them. You say you love them, that you want to love them, that you want peace with them. Then the first thing you need to do is desire happiness for yourself. Notice it didn't start out saying you should desire happiness for the other person. It says, I desire this holy instant for myself. But why do you want happiness for yourself? You want happiness for yourself so that you can share it with this person who you love. Because I can't give you what I don't have. The next line, the next part says, it's not possible that I can have peace and happiness without you, and you could have peace and happiness without me. I need to remember, I can't have peace and happiness without this partner, this person I'm in this relationship with. And they can't have happiness without me. I can't have happiness without them. They can't have happiness without you. You can't have happiness without me. And I can't have happiness without you. Yet it is wholly possible for us to share it now. It's totally possible for us to share peace right now. It's totally possible for us to share love right now. And so I choose this instant. I choose right now. I choose what? I choose right now. I choose this instant. I choose this instant. You choose this instant. You choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit. Offer this instant to God. Offer the instant to God. Offer this instant to the Holy Spirit. Offer this instant to your higher power. Offer this instant to the loving Spirit, that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us and keep us both in peace. I desire this holy instant for myself. I desire this holy instant for myself, that I may share it with my brother whom I love, that I may share it with my brother whom I love. It is not possible that I can have it without him and he without me. It is not possible that I can have it without him and he without me. Yet it is wholly possible. Yet it is totally possible. It is totally, wholly possible. Yet it is wholly possible for us to share it now. And so I choose this instant, and so I choose this instant, and so I choose this instant, and so I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit. I choose this instant right now to offer to love, to offer to God, to offer to the Holy Spirit, that his blessing may descend on us. Why? So that love's blessing may descend on us. So that peace, so that God's blessing may descend on us. I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit, so that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us. I choose this instant. I choose right now as the one to offer to love. I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit, so that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us. So that the Holy Spirit's blessing may descend on us. Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Repeat it, learn it, repeat it, learn it. Share this video. You just heard how to deal with anytime your relationship feels threatened in any way. Listen to this particular lesson. It's the answer to having peace and love and forgiveness descend on you to bless you and the other person that the threat, the upset is happening with. This is the practice. This is Earl Purdy. Just call me Earl Practical Purdy. I'm about how can we make this Course in Miracles practice. And how can you make the Course in Miracles practice? How can you make the Course in Miracles practical? You do all of the exercises. You do all of the instructions that you're being given. You study A Course in Miracles. You read it. You remember it. You do the workbook lessons. The workbook lessons, they undo your old erroneous ways of looking at things, and the workbook lessons gives you the correct interpretation of how to look at things to give you peace. That's not going to be something you're going to make up in your mind by just coming up with different statements of truth that you've heard all your life and trying to put it together. No, if you want to be a Course in Miracles student, if you want the peace and joy and happiness that the Course in Miracles promises, do you know that you're going to have to actually give it some attention and give it some study? And if your dedication is weak, and if your resistance is strong, the Course in Miracles says, you're not ready, you're not ready. That's all. You're not bad. You're just not ready. So the Course in Miracles says, don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. If you're not ready to do it, don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. You're innocent. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in live. I know it takes a real commitment to be here at the actual time that I'm sharing it live on Facebook. I have hundreds of videos on YouTube, on my website, and on Facebook. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent God, love, who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do because God who sent me will direct me. And I will be healed. I will be healed as I allow God to teach me to heal. I love you. I appreciate you. You're a blessing in my life. See you next time, mighty companion.